Hello. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. From Palestine to Indonesia, my second homeland, Indonesia. As long as I have been invited by the universities and colleges to be as a guest, as a keynote speaker in Indonesia universities. So I'm so pleased to be among my sisters and brothers again in this webinar about how to teach English or teaching English skills before and after COVID-19 pandemic time. This is Asma Mustafa, the English language teacher from Palestine, and I'm the Global Teacher Award winner 2020. My story began 12 years ago, or let me say 13 years ago, when a 14-year student expressed her feeling towards one game I was doing with my students inside the classroom. It was the Israeli aggression against Gaza in 2008. And when we went back to schools, this student inspired me when she stood up and said, Mrs. Asna, I'm so happy to play inside the classroom. So I never bought a tie, and that does not work. And we are about 11 brothers and sisters. It's the same at a very small house, consists of 2 rooms only. I was affected by this. She continued. I have also never visited the city of Gaza, which is only 10 minutes in a taxi from my house. Look, this was my start, and decided at that time to start researching and developing some educational games could be activated in teaching English as a foreign language. And I succeeded year after year to develop my techniques and the strategies in teaching English with 45 games, short stories, songs, drama, and technology. The educational games, some of them have been developed by me to suit the English language. And some of them I have innovated actually with my students according to the need of the learners. I managed to change the English classes into the best ones for my students by teaching English by gaming strategy. They are now waiting eagerly for my English classes. I also have launched my global educational project in December 2019, and it was, to be accurate, in October 2019. I believe I can fly. This was the title of my initiative, which enabled my students to speak via Zoom, Skype, and then later via Google Meet to the peers around the world. We visited 35 different countries till the beginning of COVID-19 pandemic and the home lockdown. After that, I continued with visiting countries with my students in order to develop the listening and speaking skills of English. I managed to join the BBC and Pearson Live Classes project from London, and I've invited my peers in Palestine and outside Palestine to join this project because it provides the learners with real practice of English, especially when you need to speak, you need to listen, of course. And if you want to provide your students with an active classrooms, a partner classroom, you can join the BBC classes. Hands Up project from London, in Europe in general, it provides me with the professional teachers of English, Mrs. Dragisa from North Macedonia, Mrs. Erna from Bosnia, from the Ecuador. I visited Chile, Brazil. I visited Pakistan, India, Malaysia, Indonesia, 35 countries, the United States of America, Japan, England, Scotland, Spain. There's so many countries I managed to visit with my students in order to learn new skills and to develop their skills in pronunciations, listening, and speaking. The Word Peace Song Project in Japan, I was invited by my colleague, Manjula. He is from Sri Lanka. Whenever I meet a teacher, he led me to join another project or connect me with other teachers. So the treasure here is talking to teachers to be inspired by their experience and to exchange experience and knowledge with them. It's not a matter of achieving high levels of educational projects. It's a matter of cooperating with the other teachers as well as learners from outside your country. This song has been composed by me and my students. We sang in Arabic and in English, and then the Google map identifies our place as one of the best achievements in this project. And the song spread or published on Google Map with the more than 100 groups of students sing at the same time about peace. I managed also to bring the word into my small, modest classroom. Here are some pictures for teaching short stories, connecting with teachers outside, the word peace song, and having and taking my students out of the siege, which was forced on Gaza in 2005 till now. This means that people of Gaza can hardly get out of Gaza and very, very hard to get back to the country. And we can hardly meet people, but technology made it very easy for us to meet you. I taught my students to sing. For example, I believe I can fly. And One Vision, One Word song, one of the most amazing songs, my favorite song actually for students, because it teaches them how to be peaceful and how to sing for peace, how to cooperate and unite with human beings in general. To tell short stories, my students now are able to tell their short stories about, for example, their daily life, simple actions happened with them, or they can make a drama about some stories they have learned with other experts or by me, by the teacher. Sometimes they read stories at the extra time, for example, during the break time, during the English club time. And sometimes I send my students' parents some notes that my students are going to take one extra class tomorrow. So I was surprised by their parents' attendance. It was one of the most powerful support that I've ever taken from the local community in Palestine. They also have learned how to write the peers around the world some letters. And I have 100 letters from Gaza to the Word Project done by my students. They wanted to tell their peers from all over the world about their Palestinian culture, about their food, about their music, about the wedding parties, customs, about their heritage, about their clothes, about the flag, the food they eat, what do they do in spare times, or whatever, what else? The mosques in Palestine, the archaeological places, the shops, our life in Palestine and in Gaza Strip in particular has been written about in 100 letters done by my students. And if you'd like, I will send them to you after the meeting, inshallah. They have learned how to use technology and education in their best way. Actually, we as educators, as mothers, suffer much from the fast development in technology tools. So how to be a guide how to be a counselor, how to be a monitor for your kids. Yes, you need to focus on the advantages of technology by making the experience, um, by giving the learners themselves the experience and making them use technology inside the classrooms. This way, they can now know more about how to develop their skills and how to plan for the future. Now, they have also learned how to be good researchers, and we have done an English dictionary. It was one of the most amazing products done by my students and me. They learned how to paint on the walls, and we have had an initiative called My School is My Paradise. We have done some painting on the walls, full of love and peace, and the pictures ask the students to smile, to be clean, the instructions of good citizens in general. My students now can manage to use the free time well enough to be good citizens and enjoy learning in life. My games taught them how to think critically and how to express their feelings, thoughts, and how to make decisions. They learned how to solve their problems by themselves. Okay, sometimes by the teacher's help, by the parents' help, okay, but they can now face the real life. Especially when we talk about the Israeli occupation. We live under the Israeli occupation from one time to another. They do aggression against Gaza Strip. So I'm sorry to tell you that we need educational games more than the word outside, because we deal with kids who have lost their childhood. They built more self-confidence as they traveled virtually and talked to so many peers around the world, whether they are teachers or learners, younger than them or older than them. They can now manage to speak freely without being afraid to commit mistakes. I can't deny the beginning was very, very difficult for me as a female, for my students, female students who have never traveled abroad and never talked to strangers, as their families say. My students now in the 10th grade were born in the year of the siege forced to Gaza. So they are with the same age as the siege. No electricity for, the electricity is on at houses for only 8 hours. The rest of the day, we live without electricity. You can imagine the problem. How do we charge our phones, laptops, batteries? How do we light our houses? And how do we make our life continue? It's a very big problem, and it causes a problem for teachers, actually, inside and outside the classrooms from continuing their educational activities with the learners. Gaza has some privacy in life as a result of siege forcing 2 million people in this very small area. This caused so many huge troubles, like the electricity cut off, as I said, for 16 continuing hours a day. This is in the best cases, by the way. Sometimes it is cut for 20 continuing hours, and it is on for only 4 hours a day. This forced me to bring my own laptop to school every day with full battery charge in order to continue work as if there is a technical problem in some cases for emergencies. Large numbers of students, this is a very big problem. The numbers sometimes reach from 47 to 50, and sometimes, yes, they are more than 55 students at one classroom. Sometimes this make work harder for teachers to give all the learners the opportunity for being involved in the classroom's activities. That's why I use the group work to solve this problem. And I call a leader for each group. The leadership is being grown with them one by one, another classes, so they become leaders. So we are preparing leaders, and we are building the minds. This is a great mission for teachers. Actually, no one knows the the suffering of the teachers. And I taught my students to adapt with the difficult situations, hard life, comparing with the other children's lives and the world. Some of my students are very, very poor. They cannot buy even a toy. They cannot sometimes buy a sandwich at school. They can't think now how to change obstacles to be tops, how to fly and succeed with the least power. They can now provide themselves with power. They can support themselves. I taught them how to support yourself. You do not need anyone. You just need your heart. You need your hard work. You need your efforts. You need to believe in Allah that you are going to do this mission, and be sure for your abilities and skills. And yes, you can do it. So this is why I called my my initiative with, I believe I can fly. My students have learned to be optimistic all the time, although the very, very hard life circumstances they live in Gaza Strip. They need to help each other. They need to cooperate. They need to make problems smaller, and they need to be united and good girls, good citizens for their country, because our country, Palestine, needs us very much for making it, for its liberation. My students also have learned to smile all the time, as you see in the pictures, to cooperate, to work hard, to print pictures, to learn, to do some activities, to be involved with the, for example, in designing a toy, an educational toy. Some of my students prepared very, very amazing works done by them. For example, the crosswords, the puzzle words, and the opposite words, the English dice, the playing cards, English playing cards. There are so many educational games I designed, and I took my students to the part that they are asked to do their own toys, and yes, they did it. This month, I'm working on designing educational games by the learners. And now in COVID-19 pandemic time, my students, my school, of course, was classified as one of the most dangerous areas in Gaza, according to the health cases. So I met two groups of my students every day by a Hangouts Meet application, Google Classroom, so that we could mainly meet each other, keep in touch, learn, and sometimes having fun in this difficult time. I managed to record 100 videos and uploaded them on my YouTube channel. And then I sent the links to my students on Google Classroom. And I did more than 150 live meetings with my students from both classes, 8th grade and the 10th grade. The most amazing thing that was my students' parents encourage their kids, and also they attended my live classes with the students. My students told me to send you their love and best wishes. Thank you for listening to my modest experience, and now I would like to present something about from inside my classes. My real experience. This is Asma Mustafa from Palestine. My English classes. I teach English by gaming strategies, as I told you, 45 games, and I will send you the link of the book. Short stories, songs, educational journeys around the world in 90 days. I did the global citizenship, technology and education. I am the ambassador of Wakelet, Skype, Zoom. I use them to meet or to connect with my peers around the world. My YouTube channel is full of the videos. Fantastic is a very, very amazing program for producing short stories by the learners. Gamification, sometimes, yes, I do with my students some gamification. And the merge group, I designed 3 lessons of English on the merge group. So they loved the idea on how to look at things are moving, look at the cartoon designs are moving inside the application itself. The remote learning, some academic researchers, as a result of those all teaching strategies, I wrote 2 books, one for the teachers in English, about 45 gaming strategies. The second is, it was written by Arabic, the golden basics for virtual classrooms management. The third one is my students' writing called 100 Letters from Palestine to the Whole World. The fourth one is being composed now about my journeys around the world. It's very important to deviate from the traditional method in the classroom and teaching English to the world of making minds, or let me say, providing high quality of education based on diversity and active learning strategies by, as I said, gaming, songs, short stories, drama, as well as technology. My message is to build a critical thinking learners capable of assuming responsibilities in their futures. I told you about the experience that have taught students to be able to break the siege imposed on them, bringing the homeland towards a better future of Palestine. My educational project aims at developing their skills in listening and speaking, pronunciation, reading and writing, and some other skills or sub skills, let me say, for example, grammar, how to make a structure, how to make a sentence, etc. They come by default for the learners if they practice listening and speaking much more. If the learners listens to English songs, for example, if they listen to a partner from other country, ask them an answer, ask an answer. So by this, they can manage to speak without fear, without being afraid of committing mistakes or being embarrassing inside the classrooms, or that the peers may laugh at them if they commit mistakes. No, these things have been finished completely inside my classroom. I worked for the students, for my peer teachers, for the curriculum itself, the English books. And as I told you, I worked hard to develop my students' abilities in the English language skills in so many different ways. Games, technology, short stories, remote learning, virtual classrooms, virtual journeys around the world, songs, etc. This is my book. My first book, actually, and this is one of the educational games done or innovated by me. It is called Water the Tree. I've innovated this as I want to ask my students to write sentences, for example, in grammar, using present simple tense. Directly, I start drawing the tree from the lower side without leaves, and I distribute the leaves empty for my students groups as in the pictures, And they, after they write their sentences, the correct ones are hanged up on the tree. So the tree grows with more correct sentences. Your students will compete in making the tree, I'm sure. Just try it. Shares and acting out. I ask my students to be, I divide the class into 2 groups and ask my students to act out for one sits in front of them. I put my finger on the blackboard, for example, and the word of glasses. So the students start acting out the word, oh, without speaking or without making their lips moving. So let me say, for example, Carly, like in the picture, Carly. So the students, and the one opposite them says Carly, and they take a point. The other team, I do the same with them. The winner team is the one with more points. Realia, I use realia and playing cards, just like I told you, playing cards. I write the new vocab on the back of some empty cards, and I distribute them as if they are playing cards. And it's an enjoyable thing inside your classroom. You can try it, and you will have great results and development in your students' achievement. I ask my students from one time to another to help me with writing the names of things next to the pictures. And sometimes I cut and paste, I color with them, and we summarize a picture in a shape of, we summarize a story in a shape of picture, amazing picture, colorful picture, so they will never ever forget the experience. The television strategy, as you see in the picture, I cut the layout of the television by wood. I covered it with black, and I wrote Halima Sadia School Television, English classrooms, and they will compete after each skill to speak on TV. They think that they are doing great thing in front of their peers. And I upload the video on the YouTube channel. Their parents encourage them, the school Facebook page encourages them, the Ministry of Education encourages them, as in the pictures you see, some realia. I like realia. I prefer bringing the real thing into the classroom because I do believe in the long-term memory because of the realia. Also realia and telling stories game. I make my classroom on a U alphabet, the U letter. And I make a sentence, the beginning of the story. For example, I say, okay, once upon a time, I was walking in the street, you complete. The students, one by one, make the story events by imagining what is going on, what would going on inside the story. It's just a kind of imagination. Again, a very amazing game. My students love this very, very much. And after each time I finish the game, they ask me to play it one more time because they enjoyed it. And sometimes we laughed, sometimes we feel sad, sometimes I give pieces of advice because of their thought and their bad experience. I correct their pronunciation. I correct their morals. I give them lessons in life just from one simple activity called telling stories game. You can try it, and I'm sure you can succeed in doing this activity. It is very, very useful for the young learners and for the adults, more than you can imagine. Pictures puzzle. You can see in the picture. I bring a picture which is related to the lesson itself. I cut it by the pair of scissors into pieces, and I bring it at the very beginning of the class as a kind of warming up for the lesson. I ask that I distribute the papers. For example, this picture is A, the parts of A. This group take B, this group take C, etc. And they start, you have your stopwatch, and they compete in making the parts of the picture in the right places. And then what's this? So they can tell, it's in Arabic, قفازات. In English, okay, I'm going to tell you in English, it's the gloves. So they will never ever forget this word, and they will never ever forget the picture of the word and how to use it in a sentence. And each time they wear their gloves, they say, yes, gloves, 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 etc. I do believe in those activities very much. The blindfold game. Look at this, the blindfold game. I ask my students to come, one of them to come here, and I bring blindfold like this, and I cover their eyes. It could be a piece of cloth, and I bring, for example, if they have the word of pen, for example, I give the student the pen, and she says, oh, this is pen, excellent. This is mobile phone, excellent. This is a flower. They start guessing the new vocabulary in the lesson, and I'm sure the variety of the activities help you very much to let your students love your classes and wait eagerly for your classes. The pictures puzzle, the realia, and the blindfold. The wristband strategy. This is one of the most powerful ones for the learners, for the ladies, especially for the ladies. You can ask your students, for example, to write a sentence correct, of course, after you check the word, the sentence, and you check grammar, you check everything. Yes, the correct answers, the correct answer, wear your wristbands. So the students like have a very amazing part of jewelry as they think. According to the pictures, yes, they can go back home and start making the same thing with their brothers and sisters. And the local community supported me very, very much with those activities, because they're useful. Effect is not only for my students, it is for all students inside the families that I teach their sons and daughters. The clothesline, look at those pictures are put on clothesline as if we are done with, for example, washing the clothes. And we did very clean. Okay, put them up, hang them up. They feel very, very proud if they, they feel that their clothes or the English language, their sentences are excellent to be hanged up on the wall. Group work is very, very important, and realia is very, very important. Sometimes I like taking my students outside the classrooms. I take them to the garden, and we have a very, very lovely garden at school. Yes, from one time to another, the learners, I think they need to move from their places to play, for example, the game of the note, to act out, to sing, to make some activities needs energy, because they have energy. They are in the age of the energy, and they need to do something. Yes, let them be involved in the classroom's activities. They will help you much in learning very, very fast. The step, one of my favorite games, the step. Yes, I ask my students to stay back. The one who would like to learn, who would like to play, who would like to play. 2 or 3 students, of course, they fight. They fight to play. I choose 2 or 3 students, sometimes 4, for making them satisfied. And I ask them to go back. If they answer, for example, I write here the word coffee, and yes, read coffee, a step. If she does not say the word very accurate pronunciation and well, you say stay in your place. Don't come here, okay? Okay. And by the way, there is another amazing game called the last alphabet. I write on the blackboard coffee. The students should think of another word starts with the last alphabet of my word. Coffee, they say, for example, egg, G, generous, S, sister, R, rabbit, T, etc. They love this game because they compete and those games suit all the levels of achievers, the high achievers, the middle achievers, as well as the low achievers. And I noticed one important point, the low achievers became better and better and better. The Babbit, funny cards, match meaning of the games, of the lesson, the builder game, and water the tree. The builder game is one of my favorite games ever. I cut the cards into pieces and I write down A, B, C, in each card an alphabet. I make, for example, 300 different alphabets. I make them double more time and time. Okay, thank you. This is my daughter. Okay, mom. And I ask them to start making new words that they have learned or they know. The low achievers build some simple sentences. The middle achievers make new vocab. The high achievers make sentences, full meaningful sentences. I love this game as it suits the differences of the achievers of the students. Hot and cold game. I took them to the school garden, as you see in the picture. I hide something and they start saying hot, hot. And there is a student who looks for that thing. If she comes closer, we say hot. If she comes far away, we say cold. This game teaches students how to be cooperative, how to recognize the opposite word. The pizza box, as you see, the pizza box. My students love the pizza very, very much. So I decided to make a very big piece of pizza. I cut them into 4 pieces, one for the nouns, one for the verbs, one for the adjectives, one for the adverbs, for example, or prepositions if available in the lesson. So they take the new words and classify them into their parts of speech. The clever frog game. As you see in the picture, I put the frog face for my student and I ask her to look at the leaves on the ground, start thinking, what's this word? If she says the correct pronunciation of the word, she moves to another leaf, to another leaf, etc. Then if she reaches the last one, so she survives and takes a very, very big hand. Playing cards game, as I told you before, this is a box of cards written on each one a new vocab. I ask my students to start pronouncing the word. The one who pronounces the word correct, put it on the table. But the one you cannot say, keep it in your hand. So the winner is the one who put down all the new words and pronounces them very well. In each year, we have a lesson called table manner for the 7th grade. I ask my students to bring their food freely to the classrooms, and yes, they bring them and they eat and apply the table manners for Muslims very well, and they can never forget the experience. The telephone game, I used to divide 2 groups of 4 students here, 4 students here, or 5, etc. I tell the first one, for example, opportunity, with a very low sound. She tells the other one till they reach the last one. If she says the word correct, she wins. If she says it wrong, she loses. Songs. I like songs in education because they are like the fast sandwiches for the learners, for the speakers. As I told you, I believe I can fly song is very, very amazing. This is my initiative name. One vision, one word. If I were an animal, what would I be? A hopping little bunny. Come hop with me. Some songs for the animals according to the lesson. Some songs for the musical instruments. For example, like I taught my students a very lovely song for the musical instrument called, I'm not sure, yes, drum. Pia, piano, 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 pia, piano, piano. They love, singing and learning new words by singing and clapping and jumping from one time to another. Miss, could you repeat it again? Yes, I used to play with my MP3 player with my mobile phone, and I give them 5 minutes or 10 minutes to sing, to learn, to do whatever they want to do, just for a small part of the classroom. This is the word peace song that I have participated with my students. This is Mrs. Lorraine from the United States of America and Professor from Shikoyo University in Japan helped us much to make our achievement global for this project. This is the map, and those are the doves. The doves are for our achievements. This is my school, my students, our Palestinian flag. I loved working with this project, as well as the Hands Up and the BBC Live classes. I'm coming here. I'm coming to tell you about the other project. This is One Vision, One Word song. And those links are for the songs, by the way. I believe I can fly. I take my students to the school library, to the school science laboratory, to the computer laboratory too, for more practice. Yeah, one word song, musical instruments, teaching English by short stories, the live classes with teachers online. I joined to the Hands Up project from London, which provided me with 2 teachers, Mrs. Dragisa from North Macedonia and Mrs. Elna from Bosnia. They are storytellers, actually professional storytellers. They did with us about 10 stories, The Clever Friends, Something Else, The Old Tree, and The Rainbow, The Stone Soup, so many other lovely short stories you can tell your students, by the way. I have selected 23 short stories and made them with one book. to help my students to read them at home in their spare time. This is the book of the short stories. My online short stories telling the Hands Up project. These are some pictures from Zoom and from the Skype and Zoom. I met 55 different teachers from 44 different countries. Storytelling sessions. Storytelling sessions. Remote learning. Indonesia. Some pictures from Indonesia. Some pictures from India, February 2020. Morocco, February 2020. Ecuador, South America in January 2020. Bangladesh and Indonesia, February 2020. The second picture here to the left is from Indonesia. A very, very brilliant, amazing, lovely colleague from Indonesia. I enjoyed meeting her very much, and Bangladesh is very, very amazing country too. Lovely people and kind people who keep smiling all the time. They are very, very polite, by the way. United States of America, February 2020, Turkey. I visited Turkey. This picture is from Turkey, our meeting with Turkey. This is Ecuador, South America. To the right, and to the left, my students from Gaza, Palestine. Indonesia, another time. Those are Indonesian people. Morocco, Indonesia. I love them. I love them very much. The teacher called Jenny Celan. Jenny Celan students. Wow, one of the most amazing experience I have ever been through. Bangladesh, February 2020. This is from my classroom with Bangladesh, my journey to Bangladesh. This is to Sri Lanka. This is to Turkey, to Pakistan. This is to Pakistan, Sri Lanka, February 2020. Bangladesh, February 2020. Russia, February 2020, Morocco, February 2020, United States of America. And this is my participation with BBC Live classes, Mr. Michel and Mr. I just can't remember the names. We met 18 different countries and we spoke with 18 different groups from 18 different countries and 18 different teachers. It was one of my most amazing experience in live classes. I have generalized all my work for my peers in Palestine, as well as who would like to know and learn more from different countries. I joined the biggest universities conferences in the world, by the way, according to their invitation. I spoke on behalf of my country, Palestine, and on behalf of the Ministry of Education. Sometimes I spoke on behalf of myself. The United Nations in New York, the ambassador of Palestine there asked me to join the Latin America conference called the Asma Mustafa Achievements despite the great challenges they face in Gaza Strip in Palestine. I always like helping the others. This is one of the most important reasons for success. I worked hard to generalize my work among my colleagues, not only from my country, but also from all over the world. I have innovated 45 educational games and put them in one book. The second book was called Around the World in 90 Days. It's under process in Britain. The 100 Letters from Palestine to Gaza. My students, the fourth one is called the Golden Basis for virtual classrooms management, but the fourth one was written in Arabic. Those are the pictures of the books. I teach and I taught actually before some little kids in the Palestinian educational centers. This is the Blindfold Game. And I like painting, I like drawing, I like asking my students to be involved all the time with the activities I do inside the classrooms. Those are some letters written by my students. The design is for me, but they wrote the content. This is something about our culture in Palestine. As I told you, my global membership helps me much to generate my work and to train the other teachers. I launched another initiative during COVID-19 pandemic time called Behind the Screen Teachers. And then I trained 120 educators from 17 direct trades of education in Palestine, the Gaza Strip and the West Bank, for the digital tools in education. And they managed to start their work. I'm so proud of my peers. I'm so proud of you very much. This is my YouTube channel. This is my website, my Facebook account, my Twitter account, my Wicklick account. And thank you very much. I would like to thank Mr. Ian for this great invitation to be among of you, my people, my brothers and sisters in Indonesia. I like to listen from you, your questions. You can ask about everything. This is, by the way, a very short part of my achievements during the last 3 years. And I want to tell you something very important. The need to develop ourselves as a Palestinian, the need of making the leaders for the future in order to liberate our country was the highest desire for me to develop myself and my students at the same time. I hope that I did something to you. I hope that I exchanged something important with you. I am looking forward to hearing from you sooner. And yes, I will be with you tomorrow, inshallah, Friday, in Palestine time, at 9 p.m. in Palestine time. Take care and be safe. I wish you good health and happy times.